What is up, everybody? Two metalheads. I am James,
Mario.
and today we are going to discuss first albums. Not first album by bands, but first albums that we purchased with our own money. So you got your own cash in your pocket, it's your dough, and you walked into the record store to buy either a cassette or a CD, most likely from us because we're of that generation of cassette and CD buyers. And what did you pick out? What was your first cassette? What was your first CD?
Um, so remembering this is very difficult because you're talking over 30 years ago.
Long ass motherfucking time ago.
Yeah. So I have a couple here that were probably my first. And then there's a couple that I remember, like it wasn't my first, but I remember having other ones. Like I'm talking like second grade, so it was allowance money probably. You know,
Right. Yeah,
take
of
out the
course.
garbage enough times and you can go buy it. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So the one that I should I go with the one that I think was first or do with the other ones?
Sure.
All right. So what I think I got first was Whitesnake.
Ooh. Saints and Sinners.
I think that was first. What
With
year?
the original version of Here I Go Again,
Yes.
which in the chorus says, like a hobo,
Yes.
I was born to walk alone.
What did they change it to?
Like a drifter, I was
Oh
born
yeah,
to
that's
walk
right.
alone.
Why did I
Because,
don't get it.
well, David Coverdale thought when he listened back to it that it sounded like a homosexual
Oh,
epithet.
but it wasn't.
It wasn't, but it just, I guess, I think it hit his ear that way, and I think it probably hit a lot of people's ears that way.
Maybe, yeah. I never thought
So
of it
he
like that.
decided to revamp it, and he had John Sykes, so he revamped the song altogether. The song on the '87 album is a lot more like upbeat and better production.
That's the one with Steve Vai, I think, right?
No, that's John Sykes.
When was Steve Vai? Steve Vai was
Steve Vai is the album after. So that the
oh, okay.
'87 album, just called Whitesnake, John Sykes is on that. Then the album after, you get Steve Vai and Adrian Vandenberg.
But they did do a version of Here I Go Again that they recorded with Steve Vai. Because the solo is
I
slightly
believe so,
different,
yes.
and you could tell the solo was Steve Vai when he did it.
Right.
It was similar, but as it had his little like quirks in there.
Yeah.
You probably wouldn't notice unless you were a guitar player, but
Right.
I
Or if
noticed.
you're a music fanatic that really pays attention.
Yeah. But then I have some other things here that were probably among some of the firsts. This one you're gonna dare to be
Oh shit,
stupid.
Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah.
Dare to be stupid.
And this was 1985.
Wow.
I probably didn't get it in 85 because I was like three. But
Yeah. Yeah, I was 5 at that point.
yeah. Uh,
Great album.
and then the last one that I was able to find that I know I got early on and I really liked it, Slaughter.
I stick it to you.
Yeah. And then there were some other ones like I know I had the Poison album with Unskinny Bop on it. But
Flesh and Blood.
that was probably later on. I had Slippery When Wet
Yeah.
from Bon Jovi on cassette.
Nice.
I had the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air with the Freddy Krueger song.
Ah, okay.
And I listened to that one song so many times I broke the tape.
Sounds right. I've done that with Kiss singles before.
Yeah, but it was an album. I just didn't care about the rest of it. I liked that one song.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so you just listened to that one song from the album?
Yeah, it was a Nightmare on My Street or something like that.
Yes,
Yeah.
there's a Nightmare on My Street. I remember that.
And I think Freddie's actually in it. Like, his somebody's doing the voice. I think it's Robert Englund, but I could be wrong.
I think you're right.
My first CD, though, I was in like fourth grade when CDs were affordable and you can get a CD player. Like,
Right.
when they weren't like $700 anymore. Uh, and my first CD was Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction,
Nice.
which at that point was already
Few
years,
years old.
yeah, actually, probably only, yeah, a few years old. Yeah. Because I was probably, what are you in fourth grade? Like eight, nine, maybe? It was still
Something like that.
we
Yeah.
were in the late 80s then, probably.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was probably a couple years old when you got Appetite,
Yeah.
but it was still huge. That album stayed huge for like a few years.
Yeah, I don't know if they had another album out yet at that point.
They had Lies out.
I had the two other ones, the Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 later on.
Yeah, those came out in 91.
Yeah, that would have been later. Uh, yeah, I think that was definitely my first CD. But
Nice.
that was after a bunch of tapes. I had Ugly Kid Joe and Green Jelly I had.
I remember Ugly Kid Joe.
Yeah.
That was a fucking good CD, man.
Yeah.
Neighbor and fucking I Hate Everything About You. Those are good tunes.
And then Green Jelly was like a fun one.
Yeah, of course. Three Little
Little,
Pigs.
yeah, that was the song. Yeah, Three Little
Of
Pigs. Yeah,
course.
yeah.
You know, it's fucking the one doing the not by the hair of my chinny chin chin.
Yeah.
That's fucking Maynard James Keenan from Tool.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah.
I didn't learn that till like almost sort of recently.
Huh. I had no idea he had anything to do with that.
Yeah.
And they're
Yeah, he
still
was.
around. Like, occasionally I see people posting flyers of them playing.
Oh, yeah. They're still playing live. They don't get big venues and big bucks no more, but they still play live
Yeah.
and they still come out with the crazy costumes and all that shit and the characters during the songs.
I don't even know if they have any new albums. I haven't,
I think they do.
I mean, I mean, that was the 80s. They got to be up there now.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Green Jelly's still killing it.
Cool. What about you?
My first cassette that I ever got with my own money, my grandmother sent me $10 in the mail for my birthday. And at that point in time, I think it was, all right, so 89. So it was my ninth birthday. And I was obsessed with the Faith No More song Epic.
Yeah, I remember that one.
So I got that $10 bill in the mail and I wanted that album so bad. As soon as I got that letter in the mail with the $10 in it, I begged my mom, please take me to the Jefferson Valley Mall. Please, I have to get the Faith No More album with Epic on it. And she took me that night to the store. Unfortunately, I don't own the cassette anymore, but I got the CD,
Oh, cool.
and I still go back to this one from time to time, and it's not something I listen to a shitload anymore, but I put it on from time to time, and it's takes me back to sitting and listening to this album over and over and over again. Epic was so good, and Falling to Pieces was another big hit off this one. And their version of War Pigs is fucking fantastic, man.
I never had that album. Yeah.
It's good. I don't know if you would like it. It's very weird and eclectic. It's alternative-y at times, and the big metal moment on this album is called "Surprise You're Dead." I think you would like that song. It's kind of thrashy.
Mm.
From Out of Nowhere is a cool one. And yeah, there's just like weird kind of like spacey experimental moments in it and stuff. And they expanded even further on that with the next record.
Mm.
But yeah, to me, this album just sounds like 1989. It just reminds me of being fucking 9 years old. It's so good.
I mean, I remember the music video. So,
Yeah, with the fish flopping around, and they got all the fucking, all the animal activists came after him for that. Like, oh, they let a fucking fish die during the video, but they slowed the foot. Like they did take the fish out of water and put it on the stage and filmed it flopping around, but the speed of the video was slowed down to make it look like it was happening longer than it really was.
yeah.
And they grabbed the fish and put it right back in the water. The fish didn't die.
I mean,
So
it was a good song,
it was a great tune. Fucking excellent song. That was the first cassette I ever bought for myself. Up till then, I really didn't have a lot of full length albums until then. It was a lot of singles, but two of the first full length albums I owned before that. One my sister gave me and one my mother bought for me. One was Bon Jovi Slippery When Wet. My sister gave me that, and my mother bought me Bon Jovi New Jersey.
Ah, well, I had a lot of Aerosmith tapes when I was young too.
I had Permanent Vacation was another one of the first
Was that the one with the
full
hot rod on,
lengths.
like the hot rod on the cover? That old
No,
Ford?
that's Pump.
I had that. I had Pump. Yeah, I had Permanent Vacation too. That was a Love in an Elevator and stuff? Or is that Pumped also?
No, that was Pump. Pump had Love in an Elevator in it.
Okay.
Permanent Vacation had Dude Looks Like a Lady and Ragdoll and Angel.
Yeah, I had that one too. And then uh oh, what was the one? Toys in the Attic? Was that one of the ones? You remember?
That's an early one, but that got kind of big when we were kids because of Walk This Way, and
That's right,
Sweet
yeah.
Emotion kind of came back as a single at that point.
Yeah, I had that too. I had the Aerosmith stuff. They weren't really mine. They were my mom's.
Oh, okay.
But I liked them, so I
Yeah.
listened to them. Yeah.
And you went back to them and grabbed them from the collection.
Yeah, and then my dad had he actually had it on record. He had Alice Cooper, Welcome to My Nightmare.
Nice.
And I would listen to that all the time and the Vincent Price song, but I think it was Black Widow. So
Yeah.
that was such a good song.
Yeah, it was.
And Welcome
Yeah,
to
it
My
was. That's a
Nightmare
great
was cool.
album.
Yeah, it's a good album. Yeah. It was just
Absolutely.
like creepy, but I liked it.
My first CD that I ever bought with my own money was for a long time, it was just tapes for me. I and I guess rightfully so because I was a kid. I didn't really know how to handle CDs and the CD player. Like my parents had the big giant entertainment center stereo where it was like turntable, I
Uh,
think three CD changer and dual cassette with like giant speakers that were as tall as me.
yeah,
So they
I
didn't
didn't,
really want me fucking with the stereo.
no, I don't blame them. But
Yeah.
I didn't get it. So by the time I got a CD player, it was like one of those ones that were like that tall and then had like the speakers attached on the side, but it didn't look like a boombox.
Yeah, same.
It was
I had the
it
same
looked
kind
like
of
a
deal.
tower. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I had the same kind of deal. That was my first CD player. And then the first CD I ever bought on my own with my own money was Stone Temple Pilots Core.
Oh wow. Okay.
I still love this album too. I play the shit out of it to this day. Like it's one of my top favorite albums of all time. Great songs on it. Fucking Sex Type Thing was the first big track off this. They used to play the videos off this album on Headbangers Ball.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like Plush and fucking um what's the ballad on here is fucking Creep and Wicked Garden. Those songs were like always, not only just always on MTV, they were on fucking Headbangers Ball. Headbangers Ball started playing grunge after some point, after glam was kind of dying out.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was the first CD, and I remember kind of being like, man, I could get two cassettes instead of one CD. But then I'm like, but I got this brand new CD player and I don't have any CDs. So I guess I'm just going to bite the bullet and buy a CD. But I was always like, always in the back of my mind, it was like, man, I could go to the cheap section and get like two cassettes instead of one cassette, or I can, instead of getting one CD, I could get two tapes, and have double
Yeah.
the fucking music. But
Well, there was like a
anyway,
weird, like CDs were like $20,
yeah, they were fucking expensive.
and they did sound better than cassettes, but they were
Yeah,
expensive. But even in like high school, I had a Walkman because even like so I had like Master of Puppets on tape and like I
right.
guess this because even like you could get like a Discman, and even if they have an anti-skip, they still skipped. You know?
Yes, they did.
They sucked.
And they were never slim or sleek enough to go completely in your pocket.
No, they were always too big. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like carrying around a fucking VCR in your pocket.
Yeah.
It was huge. It was like putting a PS1 and you're trying to fit it in your pocket.
Yep. So I probably got the Metallica albums on CD and then burned them like burned them to tape. That's probably
Made
what I
copies
did.
to tapes. Yeah, I
Yeah.
did the same thing. I did the same fucking thing. I didn't have a Discman till like later, like probably till I was just about out of high school.
Yeah, I had one and like it broke very quickly and I said, fuck this. I don't these things are they suck anyway. And then like shortly after like when Discman became like good enough, I had a car and it didn't have a
Right.
CD. It didn't have a CD player in it, but so I had cassettes anyway. But
Yeah.
I didn't. I don't need a CD player in my. I didn't. I don't have one now. They don't put them in cars anymore.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
No.
They're starting to again, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're starting to put CD players back in cars because enough people have been complaining. Because not for nothing, as cool as some of the serious radio stations are, I have noticed that they're starting to go the way of FM radio and they're playing the same fucking songs over and over again.
Yeah, but you could use your phone. So
Yeah, there's that too.
yeah.
True.
So
The first CD I ever owned, period. I don't know how I talked my dad into buying it for me, but the first CD I ever owned ever was Vanilla Ice to the Extreme.
is that the first Vanilla Ice?
That's the first Vanilla Ice with the songs everybody knows.
I had it on cassette.
I don't know how I talked my dad into that because he was vehemently against hip hop.
I had MC Hammer on cassette too.
That's awesome. I think I had a copy of that MC Hammer album on cassette.
Ah, I remember. So like this must have been into the 90s. Probably, I guess, well, this album came out in the 90s. So I think one of my brother's first CDs, he saw something, I'm gonna guess on Beavis and Butthead, and he went to the
Okay.
store and he bought it and he listened to it and he's like, I came in and I was like, whoa, what is this? And he's like, you want it? This is not what I thought. I thought I got the wrong band. It was Cannibal Corpse eaten back to life.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, yeah, I want it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think he was trying to get like the Dead Milkman or something.
Oh,
And he
okay.
was just too young to realize that that wasn't it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember the Dead Milkmen, Punk Rock Girl. That was on fucking Beavis and Butthead.
that's probably what he saw. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah.
Wow. So he mistaked fucking Cannibal Corpse of the Dead Milkmen. That's
I think he
funny.
forgot that the name of the band. So Cannibal Corpse and thought, oh, Dead. Okay, maybe that's the right one. I
There
don't
you
know
go.
why, but worked out in my favor. But
I think the first vinyl that I remember buying, and I wish I had the original back when I was a teenager, but I've since bought the remastered, reissued version. First vinyl I remember buying for
oh,
myself is Black Sabbath Mob Rules.
okay.
And I remember seeing it. There was a record store down the street from my house in Ossining. It didn't last very long. I think it lasted like 5, 6 years. It's called The Alternative. They were open from 93 to 98. And I had heard Heaven and Hell from the dude who was teaching me how to play guitar. I was looking through his tapes. I'm like, what's this Black Sabbath? I don't know this. He goes, oh, that's with Dio. I don't like that one as much. It doesn't have Ozzy on it. And I remember borrowing it from him and going, what? You don't like, dude? What the fuck? This album rocks. How do
Yeah.
you not like this? And he's like, I prefer the Ozzy era. So I'm like, oh, this is fucking amazing. And then I remember being in the record store flipping through vinyl, and that jumped out. I'm like, whoa, what's this fucking Sabbath I've never seen? And the guy's like, oh, that's the second album they did with Dio. That's the one right after Heaven and Hell. And I'm like, okay, this is coming home with me. And I fucking brought that home and it kicked my fucking ass, and it still does.
Yeah, it's a good album. Yeah.
Absolutely. I love Tony's guitar tone on that album. It's just so gnarly and fucking thick.
It's definitely a more aggressive era for that, for Black Sabbath.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I fucking love the Dio years.
definitely. But yeah, I don't own any vinyl. I never have. Like,
You have one record,
oh yeah, but it's
Photographed Anthrax thing.
yeah, that's right. I've never listened to it. It's
Yeah. It's
it's
just
the
a single.
yeah, it's Indians. And
Right.
my
But it's
cousin,
autographed by all of them.
well, that's how I ended up with my cousin had it, and for one Christmas he was like, "Here, you can have this." I was like,
That's
"Oh,
awesome.
awesome!" And he's like, "I got this signed personally. I know it's real." Like, okay.
That's so dope.
I wasn't gonna ask, but yeah, he had them sign it. I don't know where,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah, you might have met him at a show or a fucking meet and greet or something.
Yeah, probably. So I don't own a record player. So, but I do have, yeah, I have the Indian single on record, but it's signed. That's why I have it. Yeah.
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 You should get into vinyl, man. It's a cool fucking relaxing. I know you got kids and stuff. You don't really have time to fucking do that a lot, but grab like three of your favorite albums of all time and get a fucking nice little turntable. Put your feet up.
I know my dad has a few. He has like the Kiss Alive album
Nice.
and
I got that.
it's probably the one from the 70s.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have an original '70s one too.
Yeah. And then he has Alice Cooper, like I said. He has Cream.
Sweet.
He has Blind Faith, which I think is Blind Faith with Eric Clapton. Uh,
Yes.
It's the one that got, I guess, recalled eventually because of the underage girl on the cover.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a weird thing that they were able to put that out, but I guess it was it was a long time ago.
And it was the photographer's daughter
Yeah.
is the girl that's on that. And you got away with that shit back in the day because like the message behind it was like, innocence and youth and all that shit. Just like Led Zeppelin has naked children all over the cover of Houses of the Holy.
Yeah, but that looks like a painting, at least.
It does. Yeah, true.
This is just, and like, I think if she was so young that she wasn't in the middle of puberty, or
Yeah,
they probably would have been able to get away with it better. But
true.
like, it's like, so like when I was young and I saw it, I was underage and I was like, "Whoa, what's this?" You know. But now
Yeah,
if I saw it, I'm like, this is creepy. You
yeah,
know,
same,
like,
same. I
but
sell a decent amount of copies of that record. And sometimes I'm like, why don't you get the one with just the picture of the band on the front?
is it worth anything?
It's worth like 15, $20.
Okay. I didn't know if they like, I don't know how long it was out before they said, okay, we gotta stop
They
this.
recalled it at some point. It was out for quite a bit,
Okay.
and then it got recalled, and then they put out a version that just has like a black and white picture of the band on the cover. And then it's been re-released. Both versions have been re-released. The
Oh,
version
okay.
with the girl on it and with the band.
Huh. Like I also remember, and you remember this too. So 9/11, Slayer came out with God Hates Us All.
Yes.
And they put like that little slip cover in.
Yes,
If
because
you
it had
take
the
it,
Bible with the
yeah,
nails dripping through it and the blood.
yeah.
Yep.
I didn't realize that was even back there for a while. Like
Yeah, because
I bought
you're
it
just
that
ripping it
day.
open.
Yeah,
Right.
I went to the store that morning before I went to college and got it. And I didn't I didn't have a CD player in the car, so I couldn't even listen to it yet.
Right.
But and then I left school early because it was somewhat close to the city.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm gonna go home. Like I'm not,
Yeah,
I
definitely.
like I'm close enough to see smoke, I'm getting out of here.
Right.
Not close enough to be in any real danger, but could see the
Right.
smoke. And I'm like, I'm at a big college campus. I'm like, I don't know what's going on. I'm going home. you know?
Yeah, fuck this.
Yeah. So, but yeah, then I remember going home and listening to it and being like, whoa, you know,
This hits a little harder.
this is a brutal album, that one.
Yeah, it is.
Especially,
Dream Theater put an album out the same day
yeah,
that had the fucking towers kind of on fire
yeah.
at one point, and they recalled that and had to take the towers out of it.
I know somebody that has two of them with the
Oh,
tower.
that's cool.
Yeah. So,
Yeah, that's worth a few bucks.
oh, yeah, probably.
That's worth a few
But
bucks.
yeah, it's weird that weird the things you remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I guess tell us about your first albums.
What were your first albums? First vinyl, first cassette, first CD?
I mean,
What did you guys get?
some of you might be MP3. I don't know how young some of these
Yeah,
people
that's true.
are. Yeah.
That's true. If we're talking to the younger generation, what was your first Napster download? You fucking thief.
Yeah, that was a fun time. And I remember everybody hating Lars for it. And then
And now
now
everybody says he was right.
he was.
He was right. I said that from the beginning. He was right. And all my friends were like, oh, you're a fucking nerd. You're just saying that because you still buy CDs. Yeah, I'm saying that because I still buy CDs.
I
These
mean,
guys got to fucking get by somehow.
you went from getting an album every year or two to now, if you're lucky, if it's every 5 years,
Yeah,
because
exactly.
they're not making money off of them anymore.
Right. I mean, they're making some money, but
Well,
not like they were.
bands like Metallica are,
Yes.
but the smaller bands,
The little guys ain't really making a dough.
if they're getting an advance to record it, and like the record companies, I don't know if they could get away with a lot of this stuff now, but back then it was like, oh, we're gonna do a music video for it, and oh, it's gonna cost $80,000, and then that gets tacked on to what you owe too, and it's like,
Yep.
oh well, you don't get any money out of this album until we're paid back. Like,
Yeah,
well, great, so we're all fucked. You know,
exactly.
yeah. I mean, and
Or
back
you were
then,
hoping the album was going to go platinum.
well, back then you would have, some of those bands got that money back fast.
Right.
Now, a lot of people are recording it themselves now, just to
Yeah.
It's cheaper to spend, I don't know, 3 grand and then keep updating your studio here and there for, and getting better and better at it. It's cheaper to spend 10 grand over 5 years than to record an album and pay somebody else to
Absolutely.
do it. Of course, not everybody is going to be able to learn how to do that. It's not easy to engineer,
Right.
and not everybody's going to be good at it. But if you're young enough and you have the patience to learn,
Yeah.
it's a lot
Trial
cheaper.
and error.
Yeah. Uh, I mean, I know a lot of the bigger bands, like there's somebody in the band that records them now, you know.
Yeah.
So, like, I think for Symphony X, I think Michael Romeo does the recording.
Oh, he records all the Symphony X shit?
He records at least his solo album stuff.
Okay.
Is it
That's
like there's,
smart.
yeah, so he might record the Symphony X stuff too. I don't know. I mean, it could be one of those situations where everybody has their own thing and they just send him the stuff.
Send the files over and shit. Yeah.
It's easy enough with enough experience over a couple of years to record a band. Mixing and getting it to sound good, that's a whole nother story, you know.
Right.
So a lot of bands will save the money on recording because they could do that themselves. You just got to know how to place the mic right and, know how
Right.
to edit a little bit.
And
And
then they spend the money going to fucking give it to somebody to
yeah, you
mix.
get somebody to mix it and then you're saving some money. And then you got to send it to be mastered, which costs you more money. But
Right.
overall, you're taking a giant chunk of time off of how long it takes everybody to get their parts done.
Yeah, true.
Which, I think like some of the Metallica albums cost them like 80 grand. And but
That's
those were
crazy.
those were also the days that they were writing it in the studio. Wasting time spending that money in the studio, like not writing an album. Now, I think people just get together at their houses and record and write
Yeah.
albums and then record it because you want to get it out fast because it's 10 grand is cheap for a recording, you know.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. The fucking Illusion albums from Guns. I worked for a guitar luthier for a little while, and one of our clients was this guy Joe Beck. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He's a jazz guy, been around since like the 70s, and he did a session with Paul Simon.
Okay.
And one day he's talking to us, and he's like, "Yeah, man." He goes, "I'm in session with Paul Simon. It's like 1992, and we spent a whole 12-hour fucking studio session getting a drum sound on one snare drum hit. That was the whole 12-hour session. We just dicked around and fucking ate something and then got some beers and then went out for cigarette break and then come back and listen to the playback. And he goes over to Paul Simon. He goes, "Why are we wasting so much time?" And Paul Simon goes, "Geffen Records gave Guns N' Roses $1 million to do Use Your Illusions 1 and 2, and then poured an additional $2 million into promotion for it." He goes, "So what I'm doing is driving up the fucking cost of the studio bill to get my label to spend more money on promotion so my album gets properly promoted."
Oh, okay.
That's using your fucking noggin back in it. Now that shit would never happen today
No,
because
because
no record label's giving anybody $3 million.
I get the feeling that a lot of the labels aren't paying for the albums anymore either.
I'm sure they're not.
So, he
Even
might
a big
not.
artist like Taylor Swift, they're probably not paying for her record.
No, but she could afford it at least.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. But I don't think her label, if she's even on a label, she might be self releasing everything at this point.
Yeah.
They're not going to give her $3 million for her record.
They might. They'll get it back.
Eventually, sure, but That's a lot of goddamn money.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Anyway, I guess let us know right down there below us. So,
Right there. Right there, you cocksuckers.
anyway, two metalheads.
To metalheads. Peace. Keep fucking that chicken.